Hello and welcome back to my channel Learn with NIKHIL. In this lecture, we will study epicycloid. So we'll take a sum. In the previous lecture, we have seen cycloid. The difference between cycloid and epicycloid is that cycloid runs on a straight line. Epicycloid moves on a curved path. So we have taken a sum where we have a smaller circle of 40 mm diameter and we have another circle of 120 mm diameter. So first we will take a point O. We will draw a curve of 120 mm diameter. So this is the bigger circle of 120 mm diameter. Now the question says that in epicycloid, it is the circle moves on the another circle, on the bigger circle. So here we have a smaller circle which rotates on the bigger circle in epicycloid. So the distance which it travels is nothing but an angle. So we have to calculate the distance of its traveling for one revolution from point P to point P dash. So for that, the length of its travel, that is nothing but the length of the arc. So length of the arc will be pi d. So we have to calculate the angle which it travels. So angle of the arc will be theta is equal to pi into the smaller diameter upon the bigger radius. This is in radians. So we have to calculate this into degrees. So for that, as we have to convert this from radians to degrees, pi value is 180. D upon R into 180 degrees. So we have to convert from radians to degrees. So that's why we have multiplied it into 180. So the diameter of a smaller circle is 40 upon the radius, that is 60, multiply by 180 will give you 120 degrees. So 40 upon the biggest circle radius, 120 degrees. Now from point O, we have to draw an angle of 120 degrees. That will be the traveling path of the smaller circle for one complete revolution. Now for drawing 120 degrees, I'll just draw a perpendicular line, and at the center we have to take 120 degrees. So for that, I'll mark 60 degrees on one side and 60 degrees on the other side. Or you can leave from the bottom 30 degrees from the left and 30 degrees from the right. Any way you can do, but you have to get a angle of 120 degrees. So here I have calculated 60. On the left hand side, I have calculated 60. So counted 60 on both the sides, and I'll draw a line. So this arc which is formed is nothing but an angle of 120 degrees, and it is the distance travel for the smallest circle for one complete revolution. This angle is 120 degrees. Now the circle rotates on this bigger circle. So this point P, see how it's the rotation and the locus of point P, how the curve will form. So we have to plot that curve P. Now we have to draw the smaller circle of diameter 40 mm. So I'll take 20 mm as radius. First I'll extend this line as I have to find the center point for drawing the circle. So I'll mark a point 20 and from that I'll draw a circle of radius 20 mm or a diameter of 40 mm. Now this circle, the bottom point is P and on the right side the point will be P dash. Mark the center point as C. Now next step is that we have to divide the circle into 12 equal parts. So you know the method to divide the circle into 12 equal parts. We'll take a radius and we'll mark the arcs. You can divide it in 6 equal parts, 8 equal parts, but the more division you take, the more points you get to plot. So the curve becomes simple to plot. Now after the division of circle into 12 equal parts, I'll name them as 1 to 12 on each arc. Now we have to draw the curves from each of those points. 1 will intersect with 11. So we have to draw the curve extending till the point P dash. This point is P dash. From 2, draw the curve. It will intersect at point 10 also. From 3, it will pass through 9. Draw the curve. Draw the center line also. The center point only moves forward. It doesn't shift up and down. The center point always remains at the center, even if it is a cycloid, hypocycloid or epicycloid. The center line we will draw as the bigger line, a gap, smaller line, gap, a bigger line. Continuing with the curves, 4 it will pass with 8, draw the curve. 5 it will pass with 7, draw the curve, and 6 is the topmost arc. Now as we have divided the circle into 12 equal parts, we have to divide the angle 120 also into 12 equal parts. Now as the angle is 120 degree, we just have to mark the points 10 degree apart, as 120 divided by 12 is 10 degrees. So like that, if you get any other degree also, like 180, you have to divide that with 12 and the answer you get, you have to mark the points. As we have divided it into 12 equal parts, I'll draw the lines from the center O to the center curve line. So you will get 12 divisions, 12 center points, which you will mark from C1 to C12. Now further, take the radius on the compass, keep it on C. This will be the first point, that is P. Now we have to mark the points accordingly. As the center will move at C1, the P point will move on the first line. We will mark the arc on the first line. When the center is at C2, we will mark the P point on the second curve. When the point is at C3, we will mark it on the third curve. When the center point is on C4, mark it on the fourth curve. Like that, when the center is at C5, mark it on the fifth curve. C6 on the sixth curve. C7 on the seventh curve. C8 on the eighth curve. C9 on the ninth curve. C10 at the 10th curve. C11 at the 11th curve, and finally C12, the point will be at its position at P dash. We will mark them as P1 to P12. At point P6, the point P is on the above side. After marking all these points from P1 to P12, using French curve, we will join all of them. As you know how to use the French curve, you have to consider 3 or more than 3 points, align them properly and draw the curve. The curve which we have drawn is epicycloid. Just marking of the dimensions, marking of the diameter given is 40 millimeter, and the curve which is drawn is nothing but epicycloid. Thank you for listening. Do subscribe to my channel. See you in the next lecture.